Hey everyone, Steven here, and today I'm reviewing the 173FCG portable monitor from OiiWak. I'll have footage of me unboxing this while I cover the specs. This is a 17.3-inch IPS panel portable monitor with a 1080p resolution, a 240Hz refresh rate, and a 1 millisecond gray-to-gray response time. This covers 100% of the sRGB color gamut, has a typical brightness of 300 nits, and a contrast ratio of 1000 to 1, which is pretty standard across most IPS panel monitors. This is 8-bit color here, but it does say that you can enable HDR, which I will showcase that in a little bit, and this does have FreeSync. This has 2 speakers, which I'll do a test for in a little bit, and for ports, you have 1 mini HDMI and 2 USB Type-C ports, and then a headphone jack. One of the USB Type-Cs will be used to power the device, and this doesn't have a built-in battery, so do keep that in mind. Inside of the box, you'll find the monitor, mini HDMI cable, 2 USB-C cables, and those are USB-C to USB-C. You'll have the power adapter, the case, and the user manual. The ports are on the right side of the monitor, and on the left side, you'll find the power button, headphone jack, and dial menu button. The case here is the same style I've seen with all the other portable monitors I've used in the past, and with this it's magnetic and it does a good job of protecting the monitor while having the option to prop it up. But for the horizontal position, there is only one placement that you get with this. There's not multiple essentially positions that you could place this in, you just get one. You can place this in a vertical orientation though, and with that you do have a little bit more leeway, but again, for the horizontal position, there is only one spot you can actually put this in. You don't get multiple settings. On the back of the monitor, this isn't a flat design like other monitors I've seen so far. With this, we get the speakers, you get, I'm assuming, some kind of heat dissipation openings on this, so a little bit cooler design here, but you also have a 75mm by 75mm pattern. So if you did want to actually mount this on some type of stand or monitor arm, you do have the option to do that. I do like that. And then last here, this weighs 930 grams, which is roughly 2 pounds. For the price, the typical list price on Amazon is $349.99. This is currently dropped down to $299.99, but there's also a coupon for $150, bringing the total down to $150 for this portable monitor. Now, I don't know how long that sale is going to be around, so just keep that in mind if you're watching this and it's still not there. Unfortunately, you missed it, but just wait a little bit longer. I'm sure they will have another one at some point. Next, let's do a quick sound test for the speakers before I cover the panel menu and settings. I'll have the camera roughly 3 feet from the monitor, and I'll adjust the levels in post to make sure that this replicates as close as possible what this actually sounds like in person. They didn't list on Amazon or in the user manual the watts for these. I'm assuming these are probably 1 to 2 watt speakers though, so they're not necessarily going to blow you away with the sound quality, but it is nice to have instead of needing to lug around a pair of headphones or some external speakers if you don't want to. Moving on, let's cover the panel menu. This is a single button on the left-hand side, and I do like the single button over multiple buttons, but I do wish this one was slightly bigger. So it can be a little finicky at times, but clicking this in will bring you to the first tab, and that has brightness, black levels, contrast, picture presets, dynamic contrast ratio, and sharpness. For the presets, you have standard, game, movie, text, FPS, and RTS. After that, you have the aspect ratio tab, which has 16:9 or 4:3. Next up is the color tab, and you have color temperature, which has user, warm, and cool. Under that, you can adjust red, green, and blue, as well as the low blue light. After that is the on-screen display adjustments. By default, this is in the center of the screen. I've moved mine over to the far left bottom corner. And then after that, you have the reset tab, which allows you to enable HDR and adjust the auto power down. For HDR, the PlayStation 5 footage in this video is with HDR enabled to auto, but let's do a quick comparison of auto and the 2084 here. So the auto has been rolling for a second here. I think this looks the best in my opinion. The change that ends up happening is it looks to me like it's adding more contrast. So you do get black levels that are a little bit darker with this. It depends on the game whether or not it's going to look good. Sometimes it's a little too dark in my opinion, and you kind of lose a little bit of the vibrancy in some of the colors, but overall it's good. I just prefer auto here, but hopefully this gives you an idea of the difference between auto and the 2084. Last is the miscellaneous tab, and that allows you to change the source, turn mute on or off, adjust the volume, enable FreeSync, and turn on or off overdrive. So now that I've covered the specs and menu, let's get into what I like about this. And first up is the performance, as the 240 Hz here is incredibly smooth. Now, not all input sources may be able to run this at the 240 Hz, but for PC, that's very possible and it looks incredible. So I have a 240 Hz 1080p laptop, but all the monitors I reviewed outside of my laptop and the Samsung G7 have been 120 to 165 Hz. So 240 Hz in person just looks amazing. It's incredibly smooth, and going from these other monitors back to something that has the 240 Hz, it is very noticeable. Now I ran the UFO test here to see if the 1 millisecond graded gray response time would have any ghosting, and honestly, I don't really notice it at all. I don't notice any ghosting, any black trails, or inverse ghosting here. And that's just with my eye. I don't have a trail pursuit camera, but this actually matches the performance with just the visual test on the UFO test here with my OLED monitor. So this is incredible when it comes to that response time. Now, again, this is just visually what I can see, but with that, I don't think most people, again, you may pick up something if you did run a trail pursuit camera, but I don't think visually most people are going to notice anything here in terms of this ghosting. And that is a stark difference coming from a bunch of reviews of VA panel monitors that I've been doing over to this IPS with this 1 millisecond greater gray response time. It's just top-notch performance here, and I was expecting that it was going to be good, but honestly this blew away my expectations. This is just a solid monitor in terms of this performance here, and the colors look great also. I mean, I'm playing various games on the PC and it just runs and looks really good. So I could actually see myself, if I wanted the 240 Hz here, just running like a dual monitor setup, or honestly just plugging my PC directly into this and then playing games at 1080p 240 Hz. Which brings me to kind of the next point here. It's the thing that I really like, and it's not just specific to this portable monitor, but portable monitors in general, but they're very versatile. And so with that, you can use this with a console, you can use it with a handheld, you can use it with your PC, you could use it with your phone if you wanted to, but within those, you have different options potentially as well. So running a dual monitor setup on the PC where you're running like OBS if you're a streamer on one screen, or for instance, what I actually used it for with this video, which was the ability to read my script off of a separate monitor versus trying to cram everything onto one screen. Because usually what I do is I have Adobe Premiere Pro pulled up and then I scrunch that over and then I pull up the script all on the same monitor. Here I get Adobe Premiere Pro just on the main screen and then I get the script on another one, and it just makes it easier to record these videos. Now, I'm not going to showcase all of these different use cases here, but I'm going to showcase a handful of them. And again, the versatility here is, I think, the big draw for these portable monitors, in that you get to use it for different scenarios versus, I'm not going to lug around my main monitor. They're big. I'm just not going to do that. But if I'm traveling, it's like, hey, I do want to bring the PlayStation or the Switch, or I'm going to bring the Steam Deck or the ROG Ally, and I want to be able to game on something that still has good performance and not mess with something, again, that's maybe bigger or maybe doesn't have the same specs as this, right? So you're not needing to sacrifice performance here when you travel with this. You're not jumping down to like 60 hertz on some type of like LCD TV or anything like that. And that's going to be great, again, regardless of what you're using. Are you using this with a laptop, a PC, or using this with a console? It's going to give you a huge spectrum of different options here. And specifically talking about these next-gen consoles here, the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox, this runs the 120 hertz without any issues, and visually it looks great. So although this is a 1080p screen, honestly it looks like 1440p because of the smaller size. So you're getting a higher pixel density than if you were to stretch out 1080p to 32 inches or 42 inches or anything like that. So again, this looks like a 1440p monitor because of this smaller size. So it doesn't feel like you're sacrificing on the resolution side either. So it might take a visual hit with some things like your phone, but outside of that, if we're looking at like a console, if you're looking at a PC, the Switch, all of those look incredible, regardless of whether or not you're playing games or you're dealing in content consumption or anything. It just visually looks really, really good. Switching over to a phone, it has more to do with the phone. You're taking a hit with that anyways. And so that you could use it. I don't know that it'd be my first preference for a screen size this big. I might go with something smaller, but it's still an option if you buy the right adapter for that, depending on the phone that you have. So everything here is vibrant and crisp on top of the amazing performance. So again, you're using with a PC, you're using it with one of the new handhelds, you're using it with a console, you're using it with your phone. All the different options look really, really solid here. And that's what you want, again, out of a portable monitor, and this delivers. Now, shifting over to negatives, honestly, I don't have any standout negatives with this monitor, which is a good thing. There's some gray area stuff that I'm going to cover here, some stuff that maybe I'd like it if they would include it, but I don't know that that would actually technically apply to everybody here either. So I'm going to start with the case here, the stand. It's the same one that you're going to find on almost all of these portable monitors right now. And I think with this, if we had more options, I would be grateful. Something that maybe encases this a little bit better, because here, two different things are going on. One is it can easily slip through this. Although it is attached and it is pretty sturdy, it's still a magnet. So if this is like falling out of your hands or it takes a bump, that thing can slip off because it's not actually like clipped onto it. So I do wish we had a version where it was kind of clipped onto it. And then the second thing here would be more positions. I mentioned that earlier. You just get the one. If you're in that horizontal orientation, there's only one position or degree that you put this at. I wish we could get maybe one or two other ones here. I do like the fact that you could use it in a vertical orientation. It's a little bit bulkier when you do that, but it's still an option for you, which is great. So more options with the case, and again, something that just attaches a little bit better. After that, I mentioned it earlier, the menu button. It's that single button. I do appreciate the single button, but it is very small. So again, it's a little bit finicky. I've found that I'm trying to push it and sometimes it's just not registering because it is smaller. Make it a little bit bigger, it would be easier to work with. And the last thing here is going to be the cables. I like all the cables that it comes with. Having a USB-A to USB-C would be nice with this. Now, those aren't super expensive, but it would have been nice to have with this. Part of my brain wants to say like, hey, they should include an adapter for iPhones with these. But with that ruling where they're saying, hey, you know, an iPhone needs to switch over to a USB Type-C in Europe, and I think they're just going to apply that to all the iPhones. I don't know that that's going to be something that we need to worry about here in the next couple of years. So I'm on the fence about that one. I personally bought an adapter. It was like 30-40 bucks, but if it came with these, that would be great. But again, that's like, we're about to ditch that potentially. So I get why they wouldn't even want to invest the time with that. But for those people that do have an iPhone, that was your intent, just be mindful, you have to buy that separate adapter here. That's going to round it out for the gray area stuff here. Some of the things I haven't quite mentioned with this just yet that I do like also, I do like the fact that you can mount this, right? There's smaller screws. You don't get the screws with this. That would have been nice, but you can mount this with the 75mm pattern VESA mount. If you wanted to put this on some type of stand, that is great. I do like that, because again, if you're a PC player and you're using this as a second monitor, that's going to be great for you. And last thing to mention, for anybody that doesn't have a portable monitor, there are a lot of cables that you're going to be dealing with. So you're going to be running some type of HDMI, a USB Type-C, potentially another USB Type-C, or just two USB Type-Cs. You end up with cables here is the big thing. So just be mindful of that. Although, yes, it is portable, you still end up taking up a decent amount of space trying to run all of these different things. You also have to be mindful of the power source. Is it enough to power the device? But if something's needing to be charged from that also, which it can do, but it just depends on whether or not the source that's powering the monitor has the right amount of watts for it. If it's not, then you're not going to be charging. For instance, a handheld device is an example of this. You can plug this into the adapter. You can get the 30+ watts. That may not be enough to actually charge up a Steam Deck or a ROG Ally. You get something that's running, hey, 60+ watts, then it will. So you have some little quirks like that just to be mindful of. Outside of that though, last thing here, the price, $299 is pretty steep, right? Because you're getting into territory now where you can just buy a regular monitor. Again, it's not portable, but you can buy like a pretty solid monitor. But again, trade-offs with that. Now you look at the discount, you get that $150 coupon on top of this, and it's only $150. I mean, I think this is a really solid deal. It's just dependent upon whether or not you need, again, a portable monitor and whatever else with that. Do you want the higher hertz, or do you need something that's 2K? Do you need something with a battery? Those are out there, so you have different options. If you want something that has the higher refresh rate, is incredibly fast in terms of the response time, and it visually looks really good, then this is a solid choice in my opinion. So that's going to wrap this video up. If you have any questions about this, let me know in the comment section. I will make sure that I answer that for you there. I'll have a link for this in the description if you want to pick it up. If you like the video, hit the like button for me as it helps the channel out. If you want to continue to follow along with all my content, hit the subscribe button. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.